rankings Discord here. We basically want to go through Rotoworld's rankings, see where you're higher or lower, and know
where
better.
I'm right. Where I'm right.
Yeah,
where I'm right and where the other Rotoworld consensus rankers are wrong. I get it.
That's the real way to put it.
Thank
you.
No
politics aside here.
Yeah.
We got to start with the Rams backfield, right? There's a lot going on here, or maybe nothing going on. It's as simple as Darrell Henderson being the guy. Rotoworld has him as RB24. You have him.
I have his running back 18.
So you are significantly higher.
Did that math in your head all by yourself.
Well, I went to school.
Pretty much. Very impressive.
Yeah, mathematician over here. Albany.
SUNY.
Okay. SUNY product.
SUNY product.
They say I'm the pride of the SUNY system.
Well, you know what? I don't know that anyone would argue that because I don't know that anyone else.
We don't have much.
No, exactly. It's a low bar to clear.
At my graduation, the guy that founded Chobani spoke, if you want to put it in perspective.
Okay, fair enough.
So we're in the yogurt business.
Understood. Yeah, I know Chobani. Yeah, sure. I went to Syracuse, so you know, we're both upstate New York
down the road.
brethren. Yeah, 100%. All right, so because they're going to want to clip this, so let me just reset here. Darrell Henderson, I have at 18, higher than the consensus rank of 24, 55-12. That is how much he outsnapped Cam Akers in week 1. He outcarried Akers 13-3. He got 5 targets. Akers got 0. From weeks 1 through 8 last year, you remember, Darrell Henderson was the 6th best running back in fantasy. And by the way, this is my question for you and for all the Cam Akers defenders, because Cam Akers was on my preseason hate list. So if you're sitting there crying into your spilt milk about, oh, what are we going to do with Cam Akers? I spent a 3rd-round pick on Cam Akers, even a 4th-round pick on Cam Akers.
It's
your own fault, because this is a committee. Because my question to you, Connor J. Rogers, and my question to America, when was the last time that we saw Cam Akers beat Cam Akers?
Man, it's a long time. Here's the very summed up Cam Akers
Since returning from last playoff. Since returning. And again,
no, just nothing
medical miracle that he was able to come back that quickly.
Sure.
And talented running back who will be good again. I'm not sitting here crapping on Cam Akers as a player or a person. What we're talking about here is week 2. But since returning from the playoffs last year, he's averaging 2.3 yards per carry. He's got 175 yards on 75 carries. He's got merely 11 receptions in 6 games. He's literally falling forward. And by the way, Henderson has looked good. Now, if you were starting Cam Akers, so I'm just sort of thinking about this. The reason he made the hate list this week, Cam Akers did, and why I'm pro Darrell Henderson is because you can't start Cam Akers. You can't start him until you see him. So now you're thinking about, okay, Henderson's they're gonna run the ball. We expect them to be favored and up a lot against the Falcons. McVay's going to want to get that running game going. So maybe Akers gets some run to try to get him going. But this is going to be the Darrell Henderson show, who looked good. One of the few bright spots against the Bills was that Henderson actually didn't look as terrible as the rest of the offense. I mean, him and Cooper Kupp were the only guys that really got the ball moving at all in any way.
The Rams 10-point favorites, so it's a game where you're hoping for maybe not garbage time, but run out the clock.
Yeah.
But is Cam Akers even that guy right now? Coming off the Achilles, is he the guy, hey, we got to feed somebody the ball? I don't even think he's that guy in that backfield right now.
The news coming out of the news coming out of L.A. after that game, there's been rumors that he's in the doghouse. Now, how long's he in the doghouse for? Why is he in the doghouse? But the fact of the matter is that McVay is a player's coach. McVay is very much a player's coach. He's young. He's very in tune with the locker room, and locker room guys know, hey man, if that guy's performing, that guy can't come off the field.
Mm-hmm.
He's just he can't suddenly pull Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson did nothing wrong. You can't send that message saying we got a more famous guy, or
because we drafted him in the 2nd round.
Because we draft right, exactly.
It doesn't work like that for McVay.
No, you can't. When Henderson's been out there, he's been productive. He's healthy. He's out there now. This is going to be the Darrell Henderson show. Again, at home, they've had 10 days to prepare for the Falcons. To your point, double-digit favorites.
All right, looking over to your Commanders. Antonio Gibson coming in as RB16 on the Rotoworld rankings. I know you are going to be higher on this one, but how much higher?
Well, first off, I think you referred to them wrong. What you meant to say is Antonio Gibson on my first place and undefeated, somehow outrageously an underdog to the Lions.
MVP
Washington
candidate
Commanders.
Carson Wentz.
He's 1-0. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Matt Ryan's 0-1. Carson Wentz is 1-0.
The haters are furious.
Numbers are numbers.
Yes.
Numbers are numbers. Say what you want about Carson Wentz, but he didn't tie the Texans in week 1.
God,
he didn't tie the Texans in week 1.
Coming.
Absolutely. There you go. Here's what I will say about Antonio Gibson. I'm at running back 13. He comes in at 16 in the consensus ranks. We all have him as a top 20 play. Brian Robinson's not going to play in this game. And I think what people like about Antonio Gibson, obviously, is the passing game usage. There was concerns in the preseason, obviously, because of Brian Robinson, but he's obviously not going to play in this game. Antonio Gibson, a converted wide receiver from college. I mean, this is somebody who was really effective as a receiver in college. He had to learn the running back position, not the receiver position. So he's always had really good hands. He had 8 targets, second most on the team. He had 72 receiving yards, led the team in receiving yards. So again, 8 targets for 72 in the passing game. Lions last week gave up the 3rd most rushing yards in week number 1. You can run against them, you can pass against them, and then again, you think, what does Scott Turner and Ron Rivera, the head coach, and Turner's the OC, Rivera obviously the head coach, what do they like in Antonio Gibson? That they love that versatility. If J.D. McKissic's out there, you're a defensive coordinator, you're like, all right, this is likely a pass. But with Gibson, you can run up the middle, you can bring Curtis Samuel into the backfield, you can do all sorts of different things with Gibson, be creative with that offense. And so in a game in which we expect them to be able to move the ball effectively against that Lions defense, Gibson should be heavily involved in both facets of the game. Good chance at falling into the end zone as well. I'm at running back 13.
I'm with you. Gibson against the Lions linebackers is a really good matchup. I don't think the Lions linebackers can run with him. All right, moving over to Cleveland, Nick Chubb. Rotoworld very high on him after a big week, coming in as RB11. I know you are lower. This is going to be a slop of a game. Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett, that screams run, run, run. But does that mean production?
Well, first up, I think this is important to note. The Rotoworld rankings, so this isn't a totally fair exercise. It is candidly a completely made-up segment by my producers just to try to get.
Scheme this?
Yeah, they schemed it. This is exactly what they've done. They've schemed this. They have they've manufactured a segment, if you will, to allow me to talk about some interesting guys in the ranks. But the fact is that the way the Rotoworld ranks do are half-point PPR because that's what's tied to Yahoo. My rank specifically, because my audience is PPR. So just to be clear, when I rank, and we make this clear when you read the rankings, but just if you haven't checked out my rankings on NBCSportsEdge.com or Rotoworld.com, my rankings are specifically for PPR leagues. And so in a PPR league, he doesn't catch the balls. 1, that's the number of targets that Nick Chubb got in week 1. 1, and honestly, that was more than I thought he would get. So again, is it for those watching the show, you can see it here on your screen. Kareem Hunt, 4 receptions to just the 1 for Nick Chubb, 24 receiving yards for Hunt, 2 for Nick Chubb. Look, Nick Chubb ultimately got 23 total touches, and Kareem Hunt got 15 total touches. So he out-touched him, but it wasn't like 2-1 or anything like that. This is a 60-40 backfield. So you've got a 60-40 backfield. Kareem Hunt had 33% of the running back carries. He obviously had a lot more of the passing game work. So this is basically like a 60-40 backfield, Chubb to Hunt. He's not involved in the passing game. And so ultimately with Nick Chubb, you need him to score to pay off. I mean, again, like the Jets, by the way, we want to make fun of the Jets, they held the Ravens to 63 rushing yards in week number 1 in a game in which the Ravens, pretty much controlled that game. Now, again, they were running out Kenyon Drake and Mike Davis, whatever, and they had Lamar Jackson. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. But the Jets are not a pushover run defense, is what I would say. I think they're like a middle of the pack.
They are one of the most expensive defensive lines in football.
Right.
And it's not bad money. They're on the field. Carl Lawson, John Franklin Myers, Quinn Williams, they're on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
So
my point is it's people see the Jets and like, oh, there's a pushover. And I'm like, it's not. It's not a pushover, especially not a pushover defensive line. He's not involved in the passing game. So in essence, look, I'm at 16. You're still starting Nick Chubb.
Sure.
But why do I not have him as a borderline RB1? Why do I not have him, against the Jets? Because, again, no passing game usage. He's going to need a touchdown to pay off. To be a top 10 running back this week. Otherwise, it's just a volume play. And again, when Kareem Hunt's out there, Kareem Hunt's going to play. 33% of the running back carries, let alone the passing game work. 33%. So Nick Chubb is basically getting no passing down work in 70%, 67% of the running back carries. I hate to talk down Nick Chubb because on a pure running basis, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. I mean, just forgetting fantasy, like talent-wise, the guy's awesome. But fantasy-wise, you want running backs that catch passes.
Yeah. So one thing to keep an eye on with the Browns, maybe the return of right tackle Jack Conklin.
That would help.
On and on. That would help the run game a lot. Not guaranteed to return for week 2. All right, moving over to wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, coming in as wide receiver 15 for Rotoworld. So pretty high for Hollywood Brown. Obviously, Arizona just trying to figure out who they have. Hopkins suspended. Rondale Moore already ruled out for this game. It should be the Hollywood show, but you're a little lower on him.
Is it the Hollywood show or is it the Greg Dort show? Right, you know.
I'm desperate and had to pick up Dortch, so I hope it's the Greg Dortch show.
Yeah. I think what's important here is that it's not the Andy Isabella show. Damien, it's not the Andy Isabella show. Damien, we got a guy on a show that's obsessed with Andy Isabella.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. It's Mama Isabella and Damien Dabrowski, just so you know. That's like literally the only two people in America that care about Andy Isabella. Maybe like 3 desperate dynasty managers that have had him on their team forever. This one was a weird one, right? In a game in which, to your point, no Rondell Moore, no DeAndre Hopkins last week, and they got waxed. So, I mean, like, positive game script for, you would think Marquise Brown would have gone off. Like, I mean, they're just getting absolutely waxed
so much
by the
garbage time to
Chiefs.
be had.
And he got a 16.7% target share. The same number as James Conner. In a game in which they're getting waxed, Kyler Murray, one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL, and this deep threat that they traded a first rounder to go get, 16% target share. Same as their running back. His last game with more than 60 yards came in Week 9 of last season.
It's a long time ago.
We expect a lot of fireworks here against the Raiders, and this should be a game, but, those numbers concern me. Now, here's what's positive. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. It's another week into the system. Obviously, they realize they've got to figure something out, the Cardinals, because what they were trying didn't work. I think it'll be an easier matchup against the Raiders than the Chiefs in terms of defensively. And by the way, he's still one play. He's one of those guys that all he needs is one play to make your day. He's too talented. He comes in at wide receiver 20 for me, but yes, I am lower on him than the consensus ranks. They have him as wide receiver 15. When you're getting an under 20% target share, in a game in which you're getting blown out and where they don't have a lot of other passing options, that gives me a pause to be like, makes me nervous.
All right, gives you a chicken player.
Yeah, a little bit chicken. Yeah. He's a little bit of a chicken player. Yeah.
Okay. Back to Washington. Terry McLaurin only 2 receptions in Week 1. Carson Wentz spread the ball around a lot. They scored a lot of points, had a lot of production. Rotoworld has him as wide receiver 20. This was one that you are significantly higher, coming in at wide receiver 12. What do you like about the Terry McLaurin bounce back this week?
First off, he's a good player.
He's a great player.
By the way, bounce back. He had only 2 catches, but 55 yards, had the touchdown.
Yeah.
You were fine. If you drafted McLaurin and you started him last week,
performance.
It wasn't a dud
Just
performance.
Low target.
And again, follow the money. As much as I like Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson and Logan Thomas and Antonio Gibson, make no mistake, Terry McLaurin is the alpha in that passing offense for my first place undefeated Washington Commanders. Right? I mean, there's a reason why he got paid so much money in the preseason. 2 for 58 and a touchdown. Sorry, not 2 for 55. Think about what A.J. Brown did against these Lions. 10 for 155, 25.5 fantasy points last week. I don't believe that in a normal situation, that McLaurin has less targets than Antonio Gibson or Curtis Samuel or even Jahan Dotson. He's going to get fed. He's still the focal point of that offense. They're still going to take shots to him. 13 of the 17 regular season games in 2021, he was targeted 6 or more times. And the success of the other guys, the Samuel, the Dotson, the Gibson, last week, I think opens things up for Terry McLaurin. They should be able to throw often against the Lions. He's the best wide receiver in that team. So, yes, in a positive matchup, in a pass-heavy offense, give me Scary Terry.
Yeah, Wentz is going to take his shots, as we've seen. For good and bad.
Terry McScorin. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.